Hello everyone, Alex here. What you're watching now is a time lapse of me building the Mark III Dalek using plans from Project Dalek. Now, I've been a bit inactive for a while. That's mainly because that happens a lot if you've been on the channel before. I know a lot of people have, and it's also just been trying to set up this trying to set up CapCut because my PC is not that good. Now, for this is my what is this? I think this is my 5th model I've made. Because if you've been keeping up with me like outside of YouTube, then you would have seen probably occasionally that recently over the summer holidays, because I'm now away from college, I've been developing my Blender skills. Because obviously in college now, I'm trying to become better at Blender. I'm studying animation itself, actually, animation and visual effects, and one of those things that we're learning is Blender. Now, I have never really experienced Blender much. I have played with it and toyed with it a bit, but it was just one of those softwares that it was so big with what you could do that I had no idea where I would start with tutorials wise. So I kind of just stuck with Source Maker for a long while. Until now. Now, I think about, when I first started getting into Blender at college, that is also when I started to use Blender a bit outside of college. Now, I did start using it a bit, however I also did just stop for a little while. This does not mean I'm going to stop and step away entirely from Source Maker, because I do love that software. It has a very special place in my heart as the first 3D modeling as the first 3D animation software that I've ever used, and it is just incredibly special to me. The fact that I've used it for about almost 2 or 3 years now is incredible, and just looking back at it, it's amazing to see how far I've come in terms of animation, just everything. I started out with stop motion, I started out using Lego and filming things, not even knowing how to do a stop motion, then moved on to like Doctor Who figures and Daleks. I made a ton of friends across that way, tons of friends that a few of them I still have now. Then I moved on to like stick notes and like stick figure animation on my phone, then kept going further and further. I think Roblox was actually the first proper 3D animation software I used. Well, not 3D animation, but I used this add-on called Moon Animator, if any of you know it. I'm assuming you don't, because most of the people who will probably see this video are Doctor Who fans. But it's basically a Roblox animator in Roblox. So it was pretty simple, nothing really too in-depth, but I enjoyed using it because it was a nice little simple software that I could just load up and just mess around with. Now, after that, I then moved on to SFM, and I used that for about several years, and what a software. Hella outdated. It's so outdated now. It does not get updated ever. However, it still is a very special place in my heart because it is just so, I don't know, it's just so simple to get into. I like Blender, but there's just some things I wish that Blender had that SFM has. Key example, the camera system. Frankly, the camera system for Blender, despise it. I do not like it. It is incredibly janky to use. The fact that you can't zoom in far enough and at one point it will just stop, but it's fine. Now this model, I only just made my Mark I Dalek model, I think either the day before this or a little while before. This video is, when I'm recording my voice right now, is quite late. This is like, I modeled this like a few days ago as of now. It is the Thursday, 25th of July. I modeled this, I think, about 3 days ago. Perchance, maybe? I don't remember. I don't know why I said perchance. But before that, I modeled the Mark I Dalek. Now that was a... looking back at it, it was a terrible Dalek model. Well, it's a terrible. I'll give myself some of the luxury of saying that it was decently accurate for my first one. Thankfully, that's because of the reference images from Project Dalek. So, huge shout out to them. They are an amazing group of people. Well, it's more like a forum. So, thank you to everyone on Project Dalek who has helped me and put up with my annoying questions. Thank you to everyone who has actually put up with my annoying questions. I do feel a lot of times that because I'm so new to Blender and there's a lot of things that I just don't know, I feel like I pester people a lot with questions and how to do things. So thank you for putting up with me. But it is, you know, it's amazing because when I was younger, I always wanted to make something Doctor Who related because I was a massive Doctor Who fan, incredible Doctor Who fan. And now the fact that I can like make Doctor Who animations, I can make models, I can make Daleks, which is my favorite thing, and the Mark 1 Dalek is my favorite, I think, classic Dalek design probably. Either that or the Imperial Dalek, which I'm 100% gonna model. Now, this one was also a lot more different because the C-Riz, or the real Kriz, I don't know, however you pronounce his name, I'll put his channel in the description. A lot of the moments where I pause, I'm actually checking back at his tutorial. Oh, pardon me. I'm actually checking back at his tutorial because he made a tutorial of how to model the Mark 3 Dalek. So I gotta give huge props to him. I would be basically stumped for a lot of this shit if it weren't for him. While it's not a perfect way of making the slats in midsection, like, you know, using the knife tool to cut out stuff and to get rid of it, it is a way that I heavily enjoy. It is much more enjoyable than any other way that I've seen or heard about. So it's much nicer, much nicer. And so I got to give massive props to him. And the slats, they could have been better. I would have put more detail into this. However, it's limiting. I'm confused on Blender still. I'm not the best at Blender, but it is what it is. So I'm hoping that I'll be able to get better and better. I don't know what my next model will be. I think I should do something a bit further along the course of Dalek evolution. Recently I made a Mark 3 like 70s-ish Dalek, you know, like the gunmetal ones. That was really easy. I just took my Mark 3 Dalek model, added an oval to the chest or midsection, added a pupil, and bosh, simple. But aside from that, I might either do something from the 80s, or I might do like a new series Dalek, maybe a Paradigm, maybe the Planet Supreme. I don't know, there's tons I can model. There's also a ton I can't model because there's a lot that are locked behind the active subscription. Now, I completely understand that because, yeah, it is what it is. But, yeah, that is my Dalek model. And so, I hope that you have enjoyed this time-lapse of me rambling. I don't know how I rambled this long, but thank you all for watching, if you have. And I hope you enjoyed. And I will see you when I post the showcase of this model.